All right, this is Prison Stories 101, to where we try to get the real stories from people that's been in the system, has gotten out and been able to speak about it. If you don't mind, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Ken Ivy, born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Milwaukee. Got the name Pimpin from the documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down. Had the privilege of working with everyone in the music industry from 50 to Nelly, Pimp C, Ice-T, Freeway Ricky Ross, a whole host of people. And I'm currently the founder and the chairman of the hip hop fraternity, one of the biggest organizations in hip hop.
Now, we always try to understand as far as the who, what, when, why, and where. So let's start with the when. You had to serve time. How much time did you serve and where did you serve it?
Well, my first bit I caught, it was in, it was in Chicago at the Cook County Jail. I was 14. My brother pushed somebody off the L, and we got attempted murder. We ended up spending three months in the county jail until we ultimately beat the case. Then when I went to Milwaukee, I went back to jail, went to Wells Reformatory School. I called a fraud case. I tried to cash some checks. They hit me up for fraud. Then after that, I kept going back for either pulling fire alarms, stealing different stuff, and eventually I graduated and I started robbing banks and jewelry stores. So my first jewelry store case I caught, I was like 17 and a half. They sent me up to Green Bay Reformatory School. They sent me to Marine, which was the camp. And I went to Oak Hill, and I paroled from Oak Hill. Did a lot of time in the county jail in Milwaukee. I stayed out for a few months, ended up going to the federal prison for bank robbery. I did about 5.5 years in the feds. I was in Oxford. I was in MCI Memphis. I was in Rochester, El Reno. The feds move you around.
What time frame was this, if you don't mind, as far as what?
This was all in the early 80s. So like you're talking about from 81 to 90. I did about 10 years, back and forth.
All right, as we do these prison stories, before we get into actual stories, we try to understand the psychology of why. Why were you in a situation that led you to be incarcerated so many times? Like, what in your life led you to, do the things you did to be able to land?
Well, the first time I really wanted to go to jail was when my brother went to jail. So my oldest brother, Kylie, went to jail first. He went to Wells Reformatory School. My mom used to come see him every day and bring him food because they let you cook and they had picnic tables. I was real jealous, I was real sad because, he was getting all the attention. And I wanted to get the attention, because I thought I was my mama's baby boy. Because I was, at that time, the youngest. And I felt if I went to jail, I'd give my mama love, So I ironically, subconsciously was feeling stupid like that. And I quickly found out after my first bit that mama ain't coming to see me, you know what I'm saying? That was just something she did because that was the first time she experienced it. But what I did do is I learned how to become a better criminal. So I hung out with all the slick dudes and all the hustlers and all the fast criminals and shit. They just taught me how to be a better criminal. And that's what jail does. Jail show you how to be more of what you are. So you might graduate from bank robbery to selling drugs, from selling drugs to pimping. That's what prison did. I encountered people every time I went that had a slicker hustle than what I had, and I adapted those hustles.
Definitely. And, as we talk about the why, we always want to talk about the who as far as when you got incarcerated, who did it affect as far as who did you leave behind? Who was the victim of your criminal activities? Who was at the crusp of what happened?
I don't think nobody was affected because from the time I started going to jail to the time I finally got out and stopped going to jail, I ain't had no kids, and it was so many of us. I had so many brothers and sisters, that, it was out of sight, out of mind. So the only person it really affected was me and my sanity, because I'm realizing that, hey man, this ain't cool, but I couldn't stop because I was addicted to get some money.
Your
And I don't think
first,
it affected nobody.
we always sit and speak on as far as the stories that happen in prison to what makes us men. For you yourself, the mentality that you have going into prison, how did you look to like do your time? Like, were you looking to like be to yourself? Were you looking to like to get into a gang affiliation?
But when I first went to the detention center, I was scared shitless. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what to expect. And then I quickly found out that you had to fight. So after that, I learned how to fight. And then once you get a reputation that you'll fight, then it goes to the next level. You want to go to school. You begin to miss your childhood. And you take advantage of the different programs that the prison have, like basketball, school, GED. And I started focusing on that. And then, I found out that I really loved myself because I used to love to be in my cell and read. And I read books like The Jets and The Ebony, those books back in the days. And I look at the pictures too, but I couldn't really read as well as I can read now. But I really started to develop when I started seeing all the brothers in the prison were smart. Everybody in jail is a philosopher, you know what I'm saying? They're a psychiatrist, they know everything. They're a lawyer, like Rodney Boats. He was a lawyer when he was in prison. You meet a lot of those dudes, you meet a lot of Muslim dudes, and then you got the facet, the underworld, the gangs and stuff like that. So I bypassed that. I started hanging out with the Muslim brothers, and I started learning about Islam and learning about different things, and that's how I was able to develop the character, the man I was. So once I became a Moorish American, I started reading the Moorish Circle 7 every day. And I started reading literature, and then just to shape my character, I just started getting curious. Started reading books like Think and Grow Rich, Og Mandingo, Dale Carnegie. Just a whole host of books at that time was popular. And so that shaped me, but I still had that griminess in me, right? So I had to get rid of that. I had to get rid of those demons that was inside me. So I didn't learn quite right the first time, but the second time I went, I joined the Moorish Science Temple. I was already a member of Moorish Temple, but I started functioning with the brothers, and I became the Grand Sheik, the leader. So I was a leader of a whole bunch of people in prison, right? It was crazy because I was young. I was in my 20s, and I didn't understand why these people respected me and kicked it with me like that. But I found out that I was a soybean junior. I kept my ears on record and my sponge on the Zor. So I was absorbing a lot of game, and I was able to dissect, the teachers. And I go to the prison chapel and I listen to Farrakhan all day, every day, all day. Farrakhan, Wharf D. Muhammad, and Malcolm X. That's all I used to do. And so I eventually got a job, working in the chapel, and I was able to do it more. So it started shaping me as a man. Then I started having intelligent conversations with intelligent men that had did a whole lot of time. And the brothers be saying like, man, you the one. You the one. When you get home, man, you gonna do all right, man. You shy, brother. You shy to be in your 20s and not out here, stabbing brothers and fighting and acting crazy and gambling and not smoking and drinking. I didn't do none of that. And so I came home, put my little kufi on, and every broad I would mess with, I'd show her all the books, because in jail, books is something, so I thought I was impressed, and like, look at these books I read, And some broads, they'd be happy, they'd sit down there, read for a couple of days, act like they like you, then they'd come about their business. Yeah, so I realized I had to use some of the tactics and leadership skills to run my hood. So my brother and I, we started taking over all that, and we figured out some things, and we made some things happen. Next thing you know, HBO in the city, and we ended up doing Pimps Up, Hoes Down. And because I was so educated, and I read so many business books when I was in there, when I was negotiating for HBO, I said, I need credits for this movie. You know what I'm saying? They gave me credits. And I ended up doing the movie, did over 1 billion streams, and that's how I became the man I am and the businessman I am.
Did you ever have while you were incarcerated, like actually gain like a friend in there, like either whether through a cellmate or just somebody that you really just
No, you know, I was a grand sheep, so I had a lot of brothers in there that looked up to me. So I kind of was always on point, like Stacey Allen, because everybody wanted to be in that position. It was a coveted position because you control all the commissary. You know, they got like some people call it po box, but we had like, you know, a store. So all the brothers would bring the soups and Snickers and all that stuff. And I had control of all of that. And, you know, I had all the brothers, you know, especially the DC brothers who were the gladiators, I had them on standby. So everybody wanted to take my position because I was a young dude, especially the old dudes and the dudes that had long bits. You know, they'd be jacking for my position, trying to maneuver. So I kind of always would read books like The Art of War. I was always the Machiavellian type dude. You know, I was always trying to outplot niggas and out strategize, you know. So I never had no friends because I wouldn't allow niggas to get that close to me where they can, you know, finesse me. Because every time I let a nigga even get close, you know, come find out he's the agent of provocateur. You know, he with these niggas trying to play me out of my position. And, you know, I ain't had no business and I ain't get, my mama didn't come see me. So that was like heaven for me, you know, to be the leader of the organization, get, you know, they'd be like, go ahead, Sheik. That's what they call me, Grand Sheik. Get you some suits, get you some Zuzus and Wham Wham, you know. And they made sure I was taken care of. The brothers took care of me, and the brothers would respect me. Brothers come in from other prisons and shit, and we'd sit down, we'd be chilling, and niggas be like, yeah, man, bro, woo, 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 woo. You know, and I was real advanced with the teachers because I was fortunate enough to meet Sister Christina Price Bay, who was Noble Drew Ali's secretary back in the early 20s and the 30s. Right. Bro, I was like 90 years old. This was way back in the 80s. So I was fortunate to have met her, and she taught me a lot of teachers and stuff. So, you know, I think prison shaped me and made me the educated man. Because you look at it like this: if you go to school, right, to get a degree, right, you're gonna spend maybe 3 or 4 hours here and there studying. But when you're in prison, you're studying for 15, 16 hours.